Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Adam Burke from BangTheBook.com coming to you with my Monday MLB Monologue, taking a look here at the 5 teams in the National League Central Division. Should be a very competitive race with 5 solid teams, a couple of teams that do look like they're a little bit better than the rest of the field, but should be a good year for fans in the National League Central. Over at BangTheBook.com, we got a lot of great stuff going on. We'll have you fully prepared for March Madness with game previews on every single game over the course of the NCAA tournament. We'll also be talking a lot about it on Bang the Book Radio. Did over an hour today with Kyle Hunter on not just the NCAA tournament, but also the NIT, the CBI, and the CIT, and the very good betting angles that come up with those 3 postseason tournaments. We also took a look at the East region and the South region for March Madness. So definitely make sure you check out that segment. I'll have 4 segments on our Tuesday show, and then we'll have Kyle back on Wednesday once again as well. So a lot of good stuff coming your way on Bang the Book Radio. And, of course, we've got 4 region previews from Brian Blessing right here on our YouTube page for you to check out. Also over at BangTheBook.com, daily college basketball picks piece from Kyle Hunter will include a lot of his thoughts here in the coming weeks on the NIT, CBI, and CIT. Daily NHL picks from Parker Michaels, my Major League Baseball stuff, rolling out team-by-team betting tips and players to watch to go along with my 30 MLB season win total previews and my full collection of futures stuff across the AL and NL pennant, Cy Young, MVP, all that type of stuff. So we got you fully covered for everything that's going on. Very busy time of year right now at BangTheBook.com. All right, let's take a look here at the National League Central. Some very interesting talking points here about this division, and in particular, the Chicago Cubs, who we'll start with here as I go in alphabetical order. Cubs 95-68 last year, lost game 163 to the Brewers for the division, then lost the wild card game to the Colorado Rockies, and that was it for the Cubs. 95 wins, and some people would say they didn't even get a chance to play an actual playoff game, so they didn't get to the division series there. Their season win total here this year, 88.5. You know, what's really interesting about the season win total market for baseball is that Baseball Prospectus releases its PECOTA projections in about mid to late February. And a lot of times those PECOTA projections will shape the season win total market. Well, PECOTA came out with a projection that was much lower than people anticipated for the Chicago Cubs in the 79-83 range, which is a massive drop-off, obviously, from a team that won 95 games last season. So a lot of people were wondering why. Why the reason for the low projection from PECOTA? There are a few reasons. One of them being Wilson Contreras. PECOTA projections, for those that don't know, heavily weigh defense. And in particular, they heavily weigh catcher framing runs and how good a catcher is at presenting the pitches, getting extra strikes for his pitchers, stuff like that. Well, Wilson Contreras is one of the worst in Major League Baseball at it. You factor that in with the fact that just about every Cubs pitcher that, pitched a significant amount of innings last year had a lower ERA than FIP and xFIP. And FIP, fielder independent pitching, things a pitcher can control: strikeouts, walks, home runs, and hit by pitches. And then xFIP would be strikeouts, walks, hit by pitches, and home runs, regress to a league average home run to fly ball percentage. Well, that's usually a sign in the sabermetric community when you have a low ERA and a high FIP and a high xFIP that pitcher is going to see some regression the following year. A lot of Cubs pitchers have those signs in their statistical profiles. So because of that, we saw PECOTA come out very low on the Chicago Cubs. Now, we haven't necessarily seen the betting market follow suit here, where this season win total, again, still up in the 88.5 range, juiced a little bit to the under, but it really hasn't moved down a whole lot. So it's kind of a polarizing Cubs team coming into the season where the very hardline sabermetric crowd is going to look at this team and say, okay, there are problems, there are flaws, there are holes with this team. A lot of other people are just going to see the big names that they know: Cole Hamels, Jose Quintana, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Ben Zobrist, Anthony Rizzo, Kyle Schwarber. They're going to hear all these big names of guys that they know. So that's why this season win total line really hasn't moved around a whole lot. Now, for me, I am looking at the under here. You've got a Cubs team that last year was 3rd in ERA and 3rd in left on base percentage, while being 18th in FIP and 22nd in xFIP. So I do agree with PECOTA in the sense that the Cubs will drop off a little bit. I certainly don't think that all of a sudden they become a team with a losing record, but 88.5 is a very high season win total here for a team that has a very suspect pitching staff. And then offensively last year, pretty big power outage for this team. They were 4th in batting average, 4th in on-base percentage, but 13th in slugging percentage and 10th in weighted on-base average. So this is a Cubs offense that you got some concerns with. They only had one guy that hit 30 home runs. That was Javier Baez. Very, very free swinger. There's obviously a lot of question marks as to whether or not he can do that again next season. Only 2 other guys that hit at least 20 home runs. It's a power-driven game right now. So the fact that the Cubs didn't hit for a lot of power last year is also a red flag to me when you consider that their pitching staff is going to regress some. And John Lester, a guy at the forefront of that. Lester, 3.32 ERA, 4.39 FIP, 4.43 xFIP, left on base percentage over 80%. Not really sustainable for a guy with his strikeout rate. So I do think the Cubs are a team that will fall back. This is not an official pick for me. I would not advocate putting money on this one. But if I had to make a pick on the Cubs, I would say under 88.5 because this is a very strong division here this year, and there are signs of regression for Chicago to the point where they may need a lot of things to work out really well in their favor to manage to win 89 games. We move on to the Cincinnati Reds here. 67-95 last year, their 4th straight season with at least 94 losses, and yet the Reds' season win total here this year, 79.5. Now, Cincinnati did make a lot of moves here in the offseason. They really improved the starting rotation. They picked up Tanner Roark. They picked up Sonny Gray. They picked up Alex Wood to go along with Anthony DeSclafani and Luis Castillo. Castillo had a very, very good second half last year. Allowed a 341 weighted on base average in the first half. Cut that down to 268 in the second half. Cut his slugging percentage against down by 111 points. And saw his strikeout rate go up. So Luis Castillo finished the year really strong. Now the Reds have some rotation reinforcements behind him. They're cutting out a lot of bad innings from a lot of bad starting pitchers last year. So you can see why there's some optimism about this pitching staff. I still don't think the bullpen is very good, so that will be a concern for them because last year, just 10-29 in one-run games for the Reds. But, offensively, this is a team that should be on the rise. Billy Hamilton steals bases, but he doesn't get on base a whole lot. More opportunities now for Jesse Winker. Got to think Nick Senzel is up soon. Taylor Trammell will be up soon. Eugenio Suarez was very good last year. Scooter Gennett still playing very well, one of those launch angle disciples. And then Joey Votto, who went into the offseason saying, I want to find the power that I was missing. Votto had a 417 on base percentage last year with a 419 slugging percentage. So got on base a ton, but just wasn't that run producer that the Reds sometimes need him to be. So, you look at the Reds and you can see the reasons for optimism, but that's a big, big leap to win 13 more games than last year as a team that, again, has had 4 straight seasons with at least 94 losses. So the Reds will be a lot better. I don't think that they get close to that 500 mark just yet, but as we head on into next year and some of their position player prospects graduate to the big leagues, that may be the time of year, maybe the season, where you want to take a look at the Cincinnati Reds. The Milwaukee Brewers, 96-67 last year, won game 163 over the Cubs, clinched the Central Division, went on and were 1 game away from getting to the World Series. Their season win total here, 86.5. This one's really interesting because you've got a Brewers team that a lot of hardline sabermetricians do not like because they've got a starting rotation that doesn't miss a whole lot of bats. And also the lineup, some people really expecting regression from a Christian Yelich, from Jesus Aguilar, maybe from Travis Shaw as well. And they're going to go with Mike Moustakas at second base. He's never played there before. So the Brewers, there may be some precarious things, but anybody who's listened to me regularly or read my stuff at BangTheBook.com, you already know that I love this Brewers team. I love what they're doing. I love the inefficiency that they found on terms of pitching plans. Really what they did is that they told their pitchers, here's how you're going to attack each and every hitter. They picked up some guys with pretty good command, and it's worked out for them. And statistically speaking, it's very hard to believe in the sustainability of it. But now that they've done it for the better part of 2.5, 3 years, I think there is some staying power to what the Brewers have been able to do. They picked up Yasmani Grandal, very good pitch framer, good offensive player. He was their prized piece here of the offseason. Picked up some bullpen reinforcements as well, and they may need those because Jeremy Jeffress, already slowed by an injury in spring training, ran out of gas in the playoffs last year. Big worries about him. Same thing with Corey Knebel and also Josh Hader. Big workloads last year. That is a big thing for the Brewers. Their bullpen, maybe the most important of any bullpen in Major League Baseball, because their starters are basically conditioned to go 5 innings and turn it over to the bullpen. So Milwaukee needs that group to be healthy. If they're not, it could end up being a tough season for them. I don't really have a concrete play on over or under 86.5. Would lean over because I'm a believer in what they're doing, but there are some better options out there, and certainly a better option here in the National League Central. As I transition to the Pittsburgh Pirates, 82-79 last year, season win total this year, 77.5. I really like this team a lot. In fact, they're my National League Central dark horse. I like the over. I like taking a shot on them to win the division. I like taking a shot on them for the National League pennant as well. I believe that was about 50-1 the last, or 25-1 the last I looked. About 50-1 to win the World Series. I like this team. Jamison Taillon developed a slider last year, had elite numbers from the start of June on. I like Joe Musgrove. I like Chris Archer because he misses bats and he's in a very good pitcher's park now at PNC Park. And even a guy like Trevor Williams, another one of those guys, low ERA, high FIP, high XFIP. He's never going to post a league average home run to fly ball percentage, so XFIP is irrelevant. And he's a very good guy in the contact management department, inducing a lot of weak contact. And a lot of the projection systems and things like that can't account for the quality of contact against, which Trevor Williams really excels at. So he's a guy with more staying power than a lot of people in the stats community like to believe. So, again, you've got a good starting staff here. Nick Kingham, Mitch Keller, they'll be coming along soon. Also, their bullpen is phenomenal. I think the Pirates have a top 3 bullpen in Major League Baseball, anchored, of course, by Felipe Vasquez. You've got Kyle Crick, who wound up being very good. Richard Rodriguez. I think Jordan Lyles eventually winds up in the bullpen once Kingham and Keller are ready to go every 5th day. I love this Pirates team a lot. I think the offense is good enough to get by. Good home park advantage there at PNC Park. Very good pitcher's park. Keeps the fact that they have a marginal offense from hurting them too badly. I like the Pirates quite a bit here. I'll go over 77.5 with them. And again, I think they could be a dark horse to be in contention here for this division, and certainly be in contention for the second wild card, maybe even the first wild card in this very balanced National League and specifically the National League Central. Finally, one more team to look at here, the St. Louis Cardinals, 88-74 last year. Season win total here, 88.5. Of course, they pick up Paul Goldschmidt in the offseason. Big boost to an already solid offense with Matt Carpenter, Marcell Ozuna. They got some guys that can hit in this lineup. They got very good balance. The Cardinals don't really have a lot of elite players, but they have a lot of very good players. Those are the types of teams that you do want to look at from a season win total standpoint. Now, the problem here is that 88.5 is a high number. Carlos Martinez already hurt. Michael Wacha's hurt every year. Adam Wainwright, kind of just playing out the contract. I love Jack Flaherty. He's a Cy Young dark horse for me. I like the pieces in the bullpen here. It looks like Dakota Hudson may get the 5th spot in the rotation with Martinez hurt. When Martinez comes back, he's probably a reliever. You got to like Jordan Hicks, Austin Gomber if he's a reliever. They've got Alex Reyes waiting in the wings if he can stay healthy. We'll see what Andrew Miller becomes, but this is a team that does have a pretty high floor, could have a high ceiling if everybody stays healthy. The problem is I don't know if that's the case. So no official pick on the Cardinals win total. If I had to do something, it would be under 88.5, just because the 76 head-to-head division games here in the NL Central are going to be very, very challenging, to say the least. But, this is a fascinating division. I think there's some opportunities to make money here, both from a season win total standpoint and also from a game-by-game standpoint. So head over to BangTheBook.com. Check out my MLB season win total previews. You can also find the Amazon Kindle ebook. Just search MLB betting, and you'll find the MLB betting guide there for 2019. Should be the first result on the page. Or you can go to my Twitter timeline at Skating Tripods, where I posted a link to that Amazon guide here earlier today. But so excited about baseball. Season starts on Wednesday over in Japan. I'll be updating my daily MLB picks and tips piece as a result, and you can check that out every day once the season begins for everybody on March 28th. I'm Adam Burke for Bang the